Welcome to Tabletop Arcanum. I'm your host Justin, and today we're going to bring you an unboxing of the new legendary 007 James Bond expansion. So, without further ado, let's take a look what's inside this box. Traditional cellophane outside, nothing fancy here. Now this is a hefty box, it's like a small brick in weight. And that's because this thing has 300 cards being added to the deck. So it's not quite a big box expansion for Legendary if you're familiar with Marvel Legendary, but it's not quite a small box either because it's like 3 small boxes in one. So this one specifically is going to be adding 2 new classic movies. So we're going to get On Her Majesty's Secret Service and License to Kill built into this box, along with its corresponding villains and all of the goodies that go along with that. We have a full-size rule sheet here. That's it's just labeled Expansion 1, doesn't have any cute nicknames like the Marvel ones do, but it's huge. And we've got a couple of new things going on. So On Her Majesty's Secret Service is included, License to Kill is included. There are 2 new special gadgets, which are a feature in the Legendary deck building for James Bond. Impersonate, which is a new keyword where it lets a hero copy the printed star or slash value of another hero in your play area. A hero with Personate star won't immediately grant you any star, but anytime you would choose to activate its Impersonate ability, you choose another hero in your play area and gain that star value. So it essentially allows you to clone or duplicate something you already have. In License to Kill, they're adding rogue agents. This is a License to Kill, allows you a powerful ability, but there is a catch. Anytime during your turn you may activate a rogue agent. However, you can only activate if you've not yet played a 007 or 00 basic starter hero. And once you activate your rogue ability, you're not allowed to play a 007 or 00 basic agent for the remainder of your turn. So that's a new twist. And then there's also Brainwash, which allows you to turn a hero temporarily into a villain. And some bad stuff's going to happen for that. There's a Angels of Death, which are the young women that are mentally conditioned to release the Omega virus. And creating Omega virus, cartel cards, tons and tons of things. A lot of these are going to be the scenario-based for the movies. Things like clarifications on the bobsled and other rules. So why don't we take a look at some of the basic starting cards then, huh? Let me get into this pack here. Now, we talked about how this is adding 2 of the Bond movies. Remember, the original core included Goldfinger, The Man with the Golden Gun, GoldenEye, and Casino Royale. So one of the things I do appreciate that Upper Deck did here was kind of create a spectrum of Bond ranges, not just sticking to the Connery or Roger Moore era or the Bronson era, but kind of picking and choosing a little bit of everything. So we've got more 007 starters, basic starter agents, and some special starters here. Let's take a look at those. Standard field issue special starters. Now, because this is all off of the James Bond franchise, instead of using comic art like the Marvel Legendary does in most of their stuff, it is all screen grabs from the various movies that these things are featured in. Now, let's see, with License to Kill. We get some copies of Watch the Birdie. We get The Best Man. A Proper Family Reunion. And the 7-cost card, Strictly an Observer. So that's your James Bond License to Kill set. And with Legendary, various of these Bond sets are put together to build essentially the hero deck for you. This is a deck building game, so these would be the cards that you'd be adding into your deck. Now we're looking at one of the Bond women, Pan Boniver. And she's got a couple more cards. So here's the last two of her. And she's got a lot of the rogue agent keyword on some of her cards too, so she would be one of the ones, if you play that rogue agent card, you can't play a 007 card, and you won't be able to play a 007 card after you've played that. Now again, from License to Kill, we get some cue cards. Oh, this is a great one. 100% Q in disguise. His faithful chauffeur Q, and 007 always comes back. Now, nothing says James Bond like some gadgets. So, explosive toothpaste makes its appearance, as well as the Manta Ray disguise. Now, with those, more equipment from License to Kill. The Leader's Lighter and Signature Gun. Alright, let's take a look at some of the allies, also from License to Kill. Tons and tons and tons of cards. 300 copy cards in this set. It's quite daunting. Now the nice thing is the original box for James Bond, which is required to play this, does come with a lot of space. So now we got some of the extras. So these are the Angels of Death for On Her Majesty's Secret Service. Few more of them. This is a rogue group of brainwashed ladies who had a good time with Mr. Bond, but then also attempted to murder Mr. Bond. So, you know, you win some, you lose some on that. Now these ones all have that disperse virus technique for On Her Majesty's Secret Service. some extra wound cards. Always appreciate the fact that we get to see that classic gun barrel motif on the wound cards. Never want to see the wound cards come up, but can't really win them all when you're doing that. Alright, next up, cracking a deck, or pack number 2 here. So if you've played James Bond Legendary, most of the stuff is going to make sense. If you haven't, or if you've played other Legendary games, you're going to see very similar things that you've seen before. So again, this is more for On Her Majesty's Secret Service, so Bond starter cards and starter agents appropriate to that movie, as well as some of the gadget and special starters that appear in On Her Majesty's Secret Service. Here we go, we got the Champagne for 2 special starter as well. Now we're going to get back to some of James Bond here. So these are the specific James Bond cards that you can pick up out of that hero recruit points. So those you get a lot of. I think it's like 5 copies of each of those. Then, don't want to bump the camera there. And those are the more uncommon and rare versions. Buying those 8-cost cards is always rough if you had a bad go at the start, but man, are they worth it usually. Now this is Tracy Bond. For that brief moment of time where James Bond had actually gotten married. And of course you had all the time in the world with Tracy there. Bit of a sad moment really, right? Alright, next up, let's take a look at some of our vehicles. Of course, on Her Majesty's Secret Service, snow and skiing was a primary thing, so we get some bobsleds out there, and cable car lifts. But that's not all. Mercy flight helicopters and the Ice Track getaway car. You can't say no to gadgets because this is, of course, James Bond. So you can get your electromagnetic safecrackers and your snow skis. And to round out the equipment, glove box rifle and wedding ring. It was a sentimental time for Mr. Bond. On to the allies of this pack, so we get M, Mark Angelo Draco, Draco's Assault Team is available for you. And Miss Moneypenny herself makes her appearance. And speaking of Miss Moneypenny, we have some Miss Moneypenny starting allies. A couple gadgets to round out this pack. The makeshift key and some plastic explosives cleverly disguised as, or cleverly used with cigarettes. And another wooden card rounds out the bottom of that. One more pack to go. Let's take a look at it. Now, we've seen all the hero and the good stuff that you get out of this, but Legendary also gets all its share of bad stuff as well. So, On Her Majesty's Secret Service has its own villain, as well as his villain tactics. Show those two off first. And some of the base and the Angel's Death. He's got two schemes that come along with this. Condition the Angels of Death and create the Omega virus, so you can get a little bit of options going on in there. And of course, the bad guy Bond villains always have fun toys, so Helicopter, some of the henchman villains. Irma Buns and some Spectre agents. Speaking of that deadly drive-by tragedy that is in Bond's history, that I don't think he likes to revisit and talk about. We get some condition cards here. These are mostly related to the Angel's Death and their creation of that Omega virus. So these are going to be extra challenges that you have to meet, or bad stuff is going to happen to you. And we're just ranking up, start with the weakest, and get into the strong stuff here. Finally, a fatal shot. Band-Aid via Bond. Now there's some Institute guards. These are your generic henchmen. But what's interesting to call is they do have a little bit of a range in their wound values there. So it's not just a blanket 10 different henchmen, they actually have a 3 to 5 wound range on them. Alright, we've gone through Majesty's Secret Service, so now Rounding right back to License to Kill. And that's Franz's mastermind tactics there. Building his perfect cover drug empire and his cartel. And don't forget to keep the stingers close. Because, you know, Sanchez loved his stinger missiles. He has one scheme that he works towards. And he's got his own villain cards. So these are going to be his, not his henchmen, but actually like named goons. That James Bond, of course, takes care of throughout the movie in one way or the other. Alright. And lastly, those guys will round out that set. Let's go fishing for some drug empire. More of those conditions and problems that we're going to have to deal with as we play James Bond here. So if you're familiar with the Marvel Legendary, these are more like your villain card sets, but they're a little bit different because it kind of tells you your story of the movie as you're going through it too. Specific scenes. And there's a James Bond action movie about some explosions too, so we've got to make sure you take care of that. Some henchmen, Wave Crest divers, and they have their range of 3 to 5 wounds as well. Now these are some of the extras, so you get your illegal narcotics. That's not all. On top of the narcotics, you got drug monies. And if that wasn't enough, smuggled guns. Got the whole cartel trifecta there. Drugs, guns, and money. And round out some wounds. So about 5 or 6 extra wounds out of this as well. So, as you could tell, there's a ton of cards in here, 300 to be exact. 2 whole movies, more Bonds, more options, and you can kind of mix and match these, but one of the big things is for them to be played as a whole, so that you're actually playing whichever movie you're going towards, and they all have their thematic themes on it. So, if you like this, make sure to like and subscribe to Tabletop Arcane. We're on Twitch, as we are now. We'll also be on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all at Tabletop Arcanum, and we're on YouTube as well. So make sure you get that notification for new videos as they come up, and thanks for watching.